For all the many times Tom Davis has helped me out. Actually, not too many people know this, but it's really all his fault that I'm calling because he's the first guy that let me do anything, and he's also the guy that pushed me onto the stage at Butler, and then Wes heard of me at Butler, and then that was the end of the story. So if you don't like what you hear out of me today, there's the guy to blame, all right?
Hey, Wes took it after that, so if there's any blame, we're just going to blame Wes, all right?
Okay, this dance all came about. I'm sorry, you're going to have to listen to me for a minute. That's why I scheduled an extra half an hour, but I'm not going to talk for half an hour. Wes and I had talked about doing a dance like this a long time ago. I mean, way before COVID, way before anything. Mainly just a dance for the dancers. Let them come and dance. Don't charge them nothing. It doesn't cost anything. Just show up, dance. You don't have to set up. You don't have to tear down. You don't have to do anything. Just come dance. The callers will take care of it that day. So we talked about doing that. And then COVID hit, and the world ended, and everything got turned upside down, and we were always having conversations about, what can we do to get people back, and how are we going to get people back, and one of the best things Wes kept saying, he was always saying this, it was bad before COVID hit with square dancing, the numbers going down. He said, we're going to have to work our tails off, except he didn't say tails. We're going to have to work our tails off just to get it back to where it's bad again. So keep that in mind, and, the main part of this dance came about because we were talking like that one day, what are we going to do to get people back? And I said, listen, Wes, this is a great opportunity when we start again to do your Dancer's Day Out. I said, if you'll come up here and do one with me, I'll come down there and do one with you. And those words were out of my mouth before he said, I'm in. And the reason he said that so fast was because of you guys and his love of square dancing. He didn't love anything better than you people and square dancing. Because I had asked him to come up here and call a dance for our club probably 6 months prior to that, and he gave me the, I'm trying to slow down, I don't want to travel as much, but if you want me to do it, I'll come up there and do it for you. And I said, nope, I don't want to do that. So the man could come up here and get paid to call a square dance, and he didn't have any interest in doing it. But he could come up here and spend his own money and take his own time. And sorry, it was for you guys, and he couldn't wait to get here. So that's the man he was. So that's the man. Let's celebrate and let's have a good time. I don't really want to call this a memorial. Tony Kincaid said the same thing in Kentucky. This isn't really a memorial dance. It's just celebration of who Wes was and what he was about, and this is what he wanted us to be here doing. And I'm going to make a little bit of fun of him today, and fun at his expense. He wouldn't mind one bit. So we're going to do a little bit of that too. All right.
Hey, real quick, Dave. Let me give you a little insight that Wesley has not even stepped upon yet, and probably wouldn't step on it because that's the type of guy Wesley is. Wesley Fenton, folks, is here tonight because of Wes Dyer. Okay? If it had not been for the persistence and the visitation and the encouragement and the positive thoughts that Wes put into that man back there when he was laying dying in the hospital, Wes Fenton would not be here tonight. And that's exactly the reason Wes Dyer is who he was, because Wes was a people person. There's no doubt about it. Wes was a people person. Wes could sell the underwear off his mother to somebody else and sell it back to her. That's the type of person Wes Dyer was, okay? So, with that being said, Mr. Fenton back there is as close to a son as you can get to Wes Dyer. But let me tell you something. I had a lady call me about 2-3 weeks ago, and she said, I want to go to this dance that they're putting on for Wes Dyer, and I want to go because I want to hear his son call. And I said, excuse me? She says, well, I want to hear Wes' son call. I've never heard Wes' son call. And I said, ma'am, what dance are you going to? She said, the one y'all doing there in Dayton. And I said, well, that's not Wes' son. She said, well, that's Wesley. Wesley, they're not father and son? I said, no. I said, no. I said, that's grandfather and father. So, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Wes Fenton has a lot of feelings for Mr. Dyer. So, and that's why. All right, turn your face your corner, say, darling. All right. There's a lot of stories that, like I said, I've known Wes for many, many years. There's a lot of stories that we share together, but there's not many of them I can tell. None of them are clean enough to tell. So, but you meet a lot of people in your life. You have a lot of people that touch your life as they pass through this earth. And Wes is one of the people that passed through this earth that touched a lot of souls. And those souls that touch are in this hall tonight. And they're all over the United States and all the different dances he's done. And ladies and gentlemen, Wes is in celebration right now. He's in celebration of the life that he lived, and he's praying for us each and every day that we will soon come and join him, and we will. We will soon come and join him, and that will be a glorious day for all of us. So give yourself a big round of applause for allowing Wes to be in your life. Christy Williams!
Thank you.
That's $10.
I know, a check's in the mail, Tom. It's always in the mail. I constantly have to send checks in the mail to Tom Davis. I go broke sending checks in the mail to Tom Davis. All right. So here's my little West story before I do this song. So, she did. I sound guilty already, huh? So a couple things here. First of all, when I was learning to call from Wes, poor Wes had 3 students in his class, and all 3 of them were females. Yep. And one of them is kind of semi-retired. One of them went to be a cure, and I'm the last one standing. So just because you get an idea, you know how he is. So, and Wesley talks about him throwing the box at you and making noises and picking on us and everything. And that song that he sings, when he sang that song the first time, I went into like PTSD. I mean, it was like it was horrible. So it brought me back to those days because it was a challenge learning from Wes because he's brutal. He is brutal. And I'll give you a little taste of that when I'm a new caller and I took home my very first singing call, which is the one I'm going to do for you tonight. And I went home with it and I'm working on 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 it. And I got that one figure and I'm like, yes. And he calls me up and this is like 3 days in and I have a week to learn this, right? So I'm like 3 days in and I get it. And he calls me up. He goes, how you doing? I'm like, all right. He goes, you got it yet? I'm like, yeah, I got it. Are you sure? Yeah. All right. I'm going to test you on it. I'm like, all right, I got it. I'm pretty sure I really got it. I feel good about it. He goes, good. Add a second one. I can't tell you the number of cuss words that came out of it. But that's it. Wes Dyer's Color School of Hard Knocks. But yeah, he was the best to learn from because Wes Dyer did not just teach you how to call. He taught you how to be a caller, and he took this activity and he did it to Wesley, did it to Chuck, he did it to everybody. He took what he loved about this activity and he taught it into our hearts, and he made us love it too. His love goes on with all of us too. So, yeah. So anyway, this is the first singing call. This is the one I picked out of the list, and it's no surprise it's got alcohol in it.
Are you sure you know it?
Well, maybe I might be drunk by the time I finish it.
All right. I too, as some of the other callers mentioned, was a student of Wes Dyer. Wesley Fenton and I were in the same class. We started on April 8th, 2018, which, as fate would have it, was 3 years to the day before Wes passed away. So we learned what we could in a short period of time, but just like everybody else, we learned to love the man, and we learned to love what he loved, and that was square dancing. So I learned a lot more about everything else other than square dance calling from Wes Dyer. But I did learn a lot about square dancing too, so or about square dance calling. So anyway, and I witnessed the box throw. There aren't many people here that can say that I witnessed Wesley get hit with the box. I think it was maybe the third lesson.
I got a song about that.
Wesley's got a song. A lot of you have heard of it. Wesley's got a song about this. That's my.
Well, the way Wes taught us was he would take a square of people and he would get them all jumbled up on the floor. He'd have people facing in, people facing out, people laying down, people standing on their head looking all different directions. And then he'd give it to you and say, okay, get everybody home. So he did that to me one day, and I'm standing there and I'm thinking, and I cannot begin to think of what I can. And the problem was, to get them home, you had to use square dance calls. You couldn't say, hey, you turn around. You know, you had to use square dance calls. So I'm standing there racking my brain. I had no idea what to do, and I'm thinking. And he's sitting over there on the side of the floor, and he's watching me. And somehow he came up with an empty box somewhere. Now he tells me that he was trying to throw it behind me, just to kind of wake me up. Well, he ended up launching this big box up there, and it hits me right in the head. So I went on, and you know, I just kind of ignored it, and I did my thing, and sat down. So the next Tuesday, he called. We really didn't even know each other very well then. So he called me the next Tuesday, and he goes, "How you doing?" I go, "I'm good." He goes, "You all right?" Well, yeah. Why wouldn't I be all right? He goes, "Well, I didn't know how you were going to take that, getting hit in the head of the box." He goes, "You going to come back next week?" And I said, "Well, yeah, I'm going to come back next week. You know, I'm like a couple generations in front of getting my feelings hurt by you throwing a box at me." But what really made Wes Dyer fall in love with me was after and he did love me. The next week I went down, I talked to Mike Carrico. Mike's here somewhere. Where you at, Mike? And I asked Mike. Mike's done about every job in the world. I said, "Mike, I need a hard hat." So Mike Carrico gave me a hard hat, and I always went to class with a backpack. I always had my notebook and stuff in there. And Wes always picked on me first because my name's Wes. So I just knew going in there he was going to call on me first. So I put the hard hat in my backpack, put my backpack on the floor, and I walked in there, and sure enough, he gets square on the floor, gets them all turned around, and says, "Wes, get up there and get him out." He probably said it more like, "Get up there and get him out." So I get up there, and I grab the microphone, I stand there and look for just a second, and then I set the microphone down, and I go, "Just a minute." And I walked over, and I got the backpack, and I think he thought I was mad and I was leaving. He stands up, he jumps up, and he goes, "Where are you going? What are you doing? Where are you going?" And I just reach in the backpack, and I get the hard hat out, and I put the hard hat on, and I walk back up and grab the microphone, and I said, "Okay, I'm ready." And right at that moment is when Wes Dyer fell in love with me.